Hey everybody, welcome to Sharded, a casual Argent Saga cast. My name is Mike.
And I'm Andrew, and for those of us coming from the Destiny side on the Dice Commando channel, welcome. And for those of us who are joining us for the first time, welcome as well. In Sharded, we are going to be talking about Argent Saga, so let's get right into it. Hello everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Sharded. So Mike approached me a couple weeks back, actually it was almost like 6 weeks ago, a couple months at this point, about this new game called Argent Saga I was very excited about. So at this point we've already done an unboxing video, and we've done a learn to play video that went about 10 minutes longer than we wanted it to. But what we're going to be doing is not only we're going to be doing this video cast, we're also going to be doing some live play, live audio with Argent Saga games as we go forward. So Mike, you brought this to the table. What is Argent Saga, and why are you so excited about it?
Okay, so Argent Saga is a new CCG game by a company called ARG. ARG is out of Ohio.
And what does the ARG stand for?
Alter Reality Games, I believe. Oh, you didn't tell me you were going to ask me that. That's funny. Yeah, so it's a game company that is made up of pro-level players from other games. Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic and Pokemon. So they basically took all the best ideas from these games and put them together into a company that was super hyper-focused on player experience and organized play, which from our background, we've suffered at times with poor organized play.
Sure.
And this company seems to be much more focused on that. So that was the main cause of my early excitement. I didn't even know much about the game when I got excited.
So it actually started off as a Kickstarter, Mike. Is that correct?
Actually, they ran a Kickstarter They ran a Kickstarter after they put their company together, just to get, I assume, some initial capital.
Funding.
Yeah,
sure.
And they had like a really, really complex set of rewards where people would get sheets of foil cards and starter decks and special playmats. But it was really well done, and they easily met their goal. They shipped all their stuff early. Like people were they told people, hey, you're going to get this stuff on August 21st, or I can't remember what day it was, July 21st. And there was people opening their stuff on July 17th, which was like, I do a lot of Kickstarter stuff, never happens. I don't even know how that.
Well, and I saw some of their like early demo deck stuff hitting like photos on the internet like in June.
Yeah,
right.
Well, the alpha, that's the stuff. The alpha stuff was out, and I thought it was going to be really hard to get the alpha. I ordered it, and within 3 days, I had my decks in my hand. So really good logistic company.
So when you say they're combining all the good things from all the various games, do you mean in the gameplay itself, or really in how they're structuring the company and supporting the game?
I don't know much about that part, and I'm talking more about the mechanics of the game.
Okay, so, well, I meant more of like the organized play. Like they're bringing, there's already been a cash tournament for this game.
Correct, yeah. Right? So yes, I would say that's a true statement. Cash tournaments with really, really, I think, a broad price structure that rewards not only the top people, but the people who are just kind of getting involved. I mean, the grand prizes are fantastic. They're giving away 4 and 5 booster boxes for top 8, of a 60-person tournament, which I think it's just awesome. Like I love it. So
yeah, it sounds like good support. So let me then ask you kind of a counter question of just from a logistics standpoint, right? So it is very clear to me, I've only been looking into this heavy for like a week or two now, but it's very clear to me looking in on this company that is very hyper-focused on the competitive. Can a company survive like that if it's only targeting competitive people? In that, because, right, let's say there's 100... let's take Star Wars Destiny, for example, right? There is a relatively small portion of the community that is hyper-focused on competitive.
Correct.
And they are not the people that are making the money to make Fantasy Flight continue to produce that game.
Right.
So do you think ARG is at risk after a couple expansions of running into essentially a too focused group of people, or have you seen things in place for them to expand into the casual player as well?
So to answer your question, I think a company can do very well focusing on the hyper competitive player, because as you and I know, we've played very Like we have played games where we are hyper competitive. The more competitive you are, the more money you spend, and not just twice as much. Sometimes it is 4 and 5 times as much. Whereas a casual, you and I, who are very casual, in fact, our cast is a casual cast,
right? And that is the we'll talk about kind of the mission statement of the cast.
Yeah, so you and I may buy 2 or 3 boxes between. Maybe I might buy 2, you might buy 2 boxes, right? A person who's going to play one of these cash tournaments, they are buying 9 and 10 boxes. We're talking 5 times as much. So if I spend my energy on placating the hyper competitive who are spending 5 times as much money, I don't need to worry as much about the casual. And if I put a really good game together with some good prizing at the, maybe for the top 64, top 32, I think you're still going to have a good game as long as the game is good and doesn't get broken. I'll give you an example. Dragon Ball Super, which I went through a little super phase. Like I think it's still mechanically one of the best games around, but it focused on the really hyper competitive people, and I felt like they kind of ignored the casual people. And I think that game, once it got one broken mechanic, it chased all the casual people out. So if there's a risk involved with this,
it's more the gameplay.
Yeah, and it's if the game gets broken, then the casual people will just go seek other avenues because they're not willing to spend buy 10 boxes. So I mean that's probably the first part of that. Like I think there is a risk, of course, but I think with the way this company is doing it, they are actively communicating on a daily basis with their players through Facebook. Like the owner of the company hops on there and talks junk sometimes to people. Like it's really funny. Like Jim McMahon, like not the football player, but Jim McMahon, the owner of ARG. This is a guy who likes to interact with the people that are buying his product, and someone will have a question about, hey, what do you think about, is this car broken? And his answer is not some snarky bastard comment. Yeah, like it's not an Elmo meme, right?
That's what I was doing.
Right? Yeah, it is like, hey, I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. Like, how honest of an answer is that? Like, you can't know everything.
Yeah,
I don't expect these people to know everything, but
hopefully he doesn't get tired because, as the gaming community, especially on the competitive side, can be very toxic. And maybe he's coming out swinging, and I hope he,
he seems
maybe he can hire an intern for the social media stuff.
Well, they actually already have an opening if you're willing to move to Ohio I think for community.
Why do you have to move?
I don't know. Because they don't want to pay you wages where we live. Maybe. So anyway, but yeah, so that's I think it can exist in an environment where that is the focus. Now if someone wants to come in and buy 1 box and then compete for the regional in their area, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, so there are how many? So just to recap from a sales standpoint, thinking about how many boxes you need to buy, right? So you can only play one of the Argent legendaries.
If it's a legendary card, correct.
You can only play one of the what's the official name?
Argent Rare.
Argent Rare.
Yeah,
so you can only play 1 Argent Rare in your deck, right? So in theory, there's 2 Argent Rares per box. So and then how many are there? There's like 12.
There's 12, right? Because I said originally there was only 8, but I believe there's 12.
Right. So disregarding, which of course is wrong, but disregarding the fact that different Argent Rares will have different prices. Right. Disregarding that fact. In theory, if you were to buy 6 boxes and you had a big enough play group and everybody just handshook that everyone's going to walk away,
right.
In theory, everyone could buy 6 boxes and then just 1-to-1 trade.
Yeah.
Right. So boxes are roughly 75. Right. I know there's a map of like 68 bucks.
Yeah, I think it's like 65-ish is the map, and then they retail for like 96. Obviously, no one's going to be paying retail for them. Yeah. But yeah, so for $75, it feels okay. I don't know why that feels better because it's only 24 packs.
Right.
But I can easily part with $75.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about it is, I was going through Argent DB. The people who set these stuff up, Argent DB is really good. The people who set these websites up ahead of time, like
for free.
Yeah, mad props. I actually wish those sites would run more ads because I want it to be more worth their time because those guys do a really good job.
Can I tell you a quick story about Argent DB?
Sure.
So I went on the Facebook group and I was like, hey, I'm having a hard time organizing my cards. I can't figure out how they're numerically placed in the set. Like because we're used to Destiny where they're all villain blue, villain
and
yellow.
they have a little number.
Yeah, this has a number too, but I couldn't figure out like the best way to organize it. And I put up there, I can't figure out how to make the Argent or any of the websites show me the list of cards numerically. So the guy who runs Argent DB, he pops me up. He goes, "What do you want it to do?" And I said, well, I'd like to be able to just go in and look at like a numerical order. And he goes, I can't believe I didn't think of that. 5 minutes later, he's like, it's done. Go ahead, try it again. And he had updated the website like that fast. So it's cool to have like someone in the.
And ironically, I work for a huge company, and if I wanted to do a request for somebody to change a website, it would take probably 2 months.
And SVP approval.
Right.
So cool. I know that's funny. It's so funny story. So keep going.
Yeah. So where I was going was
know?
The number of. I'm actually really surprised at how small the set is.
Yeah.
Right. There's. I mean, aside from the fixed cards, like I feel that if you buy 1 or 2 boxes, you probably have all the commons and a good number of the like rares.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
So you're really just at some point buying for your Argent rares.
Right.
So what impacts do you see? Because you as a card retailer, you have plenty of experience selling singles, doing the math of cracking the box for selling a single. At what point does that break? And people are, because I actually think this game may be very interesting in that it actually, people are still cracking packs instead of moving towards the singles market. Because at some point, like, you're opening packs of cards that you have 19 of, literally right next to it.
Right. So, and it's weird because the secondary market for this game has been a little weird so far. Like,
there shouldn't be a second, according to what we're talking about, there shouldn't be a secondary market for anything other than the Argent rares.
Right, and that's what we're finding is like, so there is a really cool rare that I wanted for my red deck, where I was expecting, because it was not the highest rarity, but the next rarity down, and I thought it was very powerful. I was expecting it to be an expensive card. I went on the tcgplayer.com to check the price to see if I could buy it, and they were $3.
Is it Rayona?
Yeah,
the princess.
Yes,
yeah, because I knew you pulled the flame phoenix, and she pairs really well.
So I was like $3. So for $10, basically with my shipping, I was able to get a full playset of it. And to me, like, to go back to your question about how does it stay relevant in casual play. Is I think if the secondary, as long as not all the good cards end up being $40 plus and I need 3 copies, then the game can stay pretty good. Like, there's a couple of the Argent rares right now that are super duper strong. The Twilight Knight, which is the white. No, he's one of the Argent gray, because there's a suit of cards that are just gray.
Oh, okay, I'll show him up.
Yeah.
It's the guy with Besieged or whatever, right? You can attack like 19 towers.
He's a destroyer, right? Yeah, and he comes on the field and just whacks somebody, and he's got like... So that's one I would love to have. It's a legendary, I only need 1 of, but those are... I mean, as long as that card does not become a $100 card, but maybe, to your point, maybe because they limit that to 1, maybe that is a way to naturally keep the cost of those cards down, because I don't need...
I would think, I mean, this game, if it's a Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic background, like, I highly foresee this game becoming like, your mythic rares, your Argent rares are going to have to be massively powerful.
Right.
I mean, it's just the way it's going to be, especially if you have people coming from that background and paying that much money for a single card. It's going to have to be like I get my 6 shards out and I win the game type of deal.
Right.
So anyway, that's what I think. But
so what are the questions you have?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was pretty much it. Is what attracts you about it and where you think you're going. So, for again, some of you may be joining us from our work on Star Wars Destiny on the Commando cast. So what we want to do is kind of spend the next 2-3 minutes in this inaugural episode talking about kind of how we're going to structure the cast and kind of what our mission statement is and what we're talking about. So. To start, I Sharded a casual Argent Saga cast, right? So we are focused more on the casual side and building a player base, because that's the Dice Commando channel's mission statement, always is and always has been, regardless of game, to try and get the local community up and try to get players into the game, right? You may also notice, so Mike was pointing out our lovely Star Wars Destiny artwork, so...
Yeah, if we ever get enough budget, maybe we'll be able to replace this stuff with some generic fantasy art, like a la... Argent Saga, just like some elves and some naked ladies.
In the meantime, we are obviously in the Wiki Up studio, so we are working with what we've got. So again, we've had this up for 43 episodes now of the Commando cast, so that's what you're going to deal with for the time being.
Right.
So, Other than that, what other mission? What are we really aiming to accomplish?
So I think with Sharded, the thing that I want to convey to the players is there are some really highly competitive people that you could go watch their deck profiles, and they're going to prepare you for the big tournament. And I think that's really cool. In fact, I watched an episode of another content creator today, and I was just like blown away with the thought process of going into that. What I want the viewers to do on this show is to kind of journey with Andrew and I as we kind of go from basic excitement to the mechanics of the game, to start learning the card interactions with one another and learning it together. And we'll find stuff that's broken and wrong, like as we go. That's part of the journey. For us and talking about it, like we will be talking about like why this thing maybe should be, changed or not changed. But it's really, we hope you kind of come on a journey with us, like from starting super casual. And who knows, maybe by episode 30, we're not as casual. Like we started off in Destiny, not our Commando cast, but when we very first started playing Star Wars Destiny, everyone was just fumbling around like, oh, these cards look like they go together, blah, right? Like, I had the most fun the other night building my red deck because I was like, I don't have a DB to build so I actually had all my cards laid out on my table. Like, and I was just like, well, these look like they go together, and that's 39 cards, and okay, well, that in there. And that harkens me back to my early days of playing Magic, which was the most fun.
Well, I think in it is very exciting as a player to get into a new game because it's new and it's exciting and it is uncharted territory. And I think I agree with you. I think in doing this, I think we want to kind of, for the risk of sounding horrible, right, journey together. Yeah. Right. And I mean, eventually, a year down the road, we're going to understand meta, and you're going to look at a card and just throw it away and say it's worthless, right? But for right now, everything's new and exciting, and everything's possible, right?
So interesting. I would like to maybe make a regular part of our cast where we do a meta track, like the meta tracker for us. As of a couple days ago, we have a 3-man meta. And then count our meta. So I think we're up to 4 now. Although I don't really count you as part of the meta until you've actually played a game. So technically we are a 3-man meta, and we're hoping to grow that. And I think that will be also part of the fun is how, because we're experienced at growing communities at this point now. How do we go about getting more people involved in this? And then there is a real possibility that we get to a certain point in this and we're like, hey, this game isn't very good, and thanks for joining us on Sharded.
Yeah. Right? I mean, the other thing that we've always done on Dice Commando and the Commando cast is we also kind of talk about not just the game itself, but the kind of the community and how it's going. So I very much see that. I mean, we are not always going to be saying the company's doing this right, how amazing it is, send us free stuff. Like, that's not the way it works, right? So, because I know we've already talked, and I want to talk about this in a very near-term future episode. I'm very concerned about the promo structure of this game, right? So, we'll talk about stuff like that and see how it affects, and then just go back and forth. And then I think the last thing is that community involvement, both physically and virtually, right? We like to hear you guys' comments. Mike does a way better job than I do responding, but we do respond to your guys' comments and interact with you guys. So, let's try to keep it positive. And
for those of you who are joining us who aren't members of our community, of the Dice Commando community, or maybe new from Argent Saga, we really don't mess around with negativity. We do this for free and for fun, and we like spirited debate. We will be showing people probably on, if not stream, at least on recorded videos, who are new and are doing this because they like it and they like hanging out with us. So just a personal request is if you could, please, keep it constructive and there's a lot going on in any card game. So just remember, especially with our cast specifically, is going to be focused on casual play. So if that's not where you want to be and you want to go nitpick, card play B, play A, there's probably 5 other content creators that are doing that, and I would funnel you, just message me on the YouTubes, and I'll even give you their information. But we're not really into that. So please, if that's what you're looking for, I don't think you're in the right place.
Just to build on what Mike's saying, I'll be more direct because that's just who I am. So, I in no way will I ever call free speech, or we're allowed to say whatever you want. But the minute that you go the minute you cross the line into attacking and going after people is the minute that you will be banned from leaving comments on the channel.
Right.
We've only had to do that to 3 people on Dice Commando so far. So with this new community, let's keep it positive.
But we are going to have a lot of fun. So sorry about that. Like we don't.
Just taking
it's not
care
a
of business.
downer, right? Just taking care of business, and we hope you really enjoy it. And so far the community on the Facebook has been on the face. Oh my gosh!
On the Facebook,
am I 80?
On the book faces.
On the book face, yeah. On Facebook has been very welcoming and friendly, quick to answer questions without being like, read the rules like that. That's like, I mean, and eventually you get tired. Everyone gets tired of answering the same question over again. But everyone's been really welcoming. So I'm expecting there to be some cool people. Like I've actually already met like I don't know if you know this, but there's a professional football player who is into Argent Saga, and he's really good. Like so he's like there's some interesting people already playing this. So I'm excited about it. I think it's a very good game. The card art is beautiful. The boxes are affordable. I need my Yuki promos like a
she's
fat,
so good,
like
dude.
a fat guy needs cake at this point. But I know they will be part of the October OP kit, and you'll be getting, I believe it's 30 or 16 of them per kit. So you could actually give out one to every player at your 16 person.
I need 3.
Well, come 3 times.
Yeah.
It's easy as that. So, and we're gonna. I think that should be the topic of our next discussion.
I want to talk about the promos,
but we should save it for that.
Yep,
we wanted
absolutely.
to keep this to.
Yeah, we're the goal's 15 to 20 minutes. We're already at 21. So
8 minutes ago, or sorry, 20 minutes ago, we want to be at 15. I'm like, dude, we're not doing 15 minutes.
Fair enough. All right. Anyway, so again, please, give us your feedback. Let us know what you think. If you do like what we're doing here, please give us that like, subscribe. It helps us grow. It helps also motivate us. It puts a smile on our face.
Sure.
So if nothing else, we'll leave you with Go Commando.
Go Commando.